have team names and they travel around. To me, that's a genius idea. You don't have to pay for upkeep for stadiums. You don't have to pay for overhead. You don't have to pay for security, all that kind of stuff. All you have to do is bring the team to the location and the people come. The people come to watch it. It's going to be on CBS. I would highly suggest you guys watch it this year. Shout out to DJ Knox. Thank you for tuning in. But they'll be in a city near you. If they're not in your city, they'll be in a city close to you. Go to the game. I've been to the one in Dallas. It was exciting. Michael Rappaport does like the on-court. Jimmy Jackson does the play-by-play. They had a halftime show. They had Baby Bash, if y'all remember Baby Bash, rapping at the halftime show. I think it's a great idea. Gilbert Arenas coming to the league this year. Joe Johnson coming to the league this year. Let me see a couple of comments here that I wanted to read. Joe from Houston. Yeah, Cube killing the game with the big three. August 3rd, that's 3 days before the birthday. Well, put that down on your birthday list. Put that down on your birthday list. But I think not just because it's Ice Cube, but because it's a good product. It's a good product out there. It's half court. A lot of these guys, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf is over 40. I mean, I think he may be close to 50, if not 50 already. And he's out there draining threes. It's half court. They're not running up and down the court. It's basically like you playing 21. It's basically like that, but it's on a bigger stage. They got a 4-point shot. Go watch it. Either watch it on TV or go see it. It is worth it. It's 100% worth it. Stanley Cup news. The Boston Bruins are the first team to advance to the Stanley Cup Finals. They sweep the Hurricanes. 4 in a row. I got to do this. I know this is completely random, but Hurricane. But you can call me. What y'all know about that? E40 Hurricane featuring Sugar T. I grew up in the Bay Area, so that song was on all the time. But random thought right there. Deontay Wilder will face fighter Breazeale coming up tomorrow, Showtime. If you haven't seen any of the pre-fight drama with this, the weigh-in, and that's Dominique Breazeale is who Deontay Wilder is going up against. But if you haven't seen any of that, Deontay Wilder is trying to put fear. I'm not talking about a little bit of fear. He's trying to scare him to death. They were face to face. He's talking about when you go in the hospital and you open up your eyes, you can see me. But when you laying down with your eyes closed, you can see me in that hospital bed. Like Deontay Wilder is taking trash talk to another level. He's trying to get in his head. He and Dominique Breazeale looked a little shook too. It looked like he looked like he was about to pee on himself. He looked very close to that. So I think that's going to be a good fight. Wilder coming back after the draw against Tyson Fury. Dominique Breazeale, he's lost his past 2 fights. He lost to Anthony Joshua. That was his last loss 3 fights ago. So this should be a good one. Shout out to Big Kev. The heavyweights suck. Joshua, Wilder, Fury. Joshua's the best heavyweight in the field of 3 guys. You're right about that, Larry. You're 100% right. Now, the only way you can change that is you have to beat one of them. You have to beat Joshua. You have to beat Wilder. You got to beat Fury. If one of those guys can be beat, then that can change this heavyweight division. But it has not happened yet. It has not happened. Dominique Breazeale has an opportunity to do that. Now, does he do it? I would say probably not. My vote would be Deontay Wilder. Wilder has turned into the next Fury with tons of talking. Fury needs to go to the WWE. He would be perfect. He would be perfect for the WWE. You would have to call him like King Flabby or something. Call him King Flabby because he was very comical in that fight. Ortiz could beat all 3 if he actually conditioned. says Larry B. Larry B with the boxing knowledge. There's a show on IE Sports Radio called Ringside with X Squad's very own Vince Wright and Gilbert Batista. So you can go check that out. Like I said, on the network for today, Mochi's coming up next with a music request call-in line will be open. DJ Knox coming on after that. Also tomorrow we got H-Rap B coming up at 4. Football with a Dab of Fishing coming up at 7:30. These are all Central Times. H-Rap coming on at 4. H-Rap gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you raw. Gonna give it to you on a educated tip, and you gonna break it down. JB, appreciate you for tuning in. I'm way more into the lower weights now. The welterweight division is awesome. So that's what we have coming up for boxing this weekend. Wilder, Breazeale. Also, Canelo has been, ordered to fight. I cannot say his name. I'm probably just going to put it in the chat room because trying to pronounce it would be a shame for me to try to do that. But his first name is Sergey, and he's 13-1. He lost to Daniel Jacobs, but they're putting this on paper that he should be fighting Canelo. But it seems like Canelo has a scheduling conflict, and he may not be able to fight that fight. That's for the IBF belt. Canelo is doing his thing, man. Canelo is doing it. Canelo is doing it. No one except Mayweather has been able to stop him. No one has been able to stop him. So someone, which I think may be Triple G, I think is the only one that could potentially stop Canelo. I think he's the only one. So we'll see what happens with the next fight coming up with Canelo Alvarez, who continues to punish people. Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva is pondering retirement. He lost at UFC 237. He has no timetable for when he's going to return. I think it's time. Anderson Silva had a great career. Anderson the Spider Silva has had a great career. At some point, you have to realize that the only thing you're doing at this point is diminishing what you've done. You're starting to go backwards. And that at that point, to me, personally, I would just say that that's not worth it. Not only that, the guy is 44 years old. You're 44. You've had a great career. I think it's time for him to step away. If he wants to get into commentating or whatever, you could still be in the sport. But at some point, you got to realize that you're only diminishing what you've done. He's had in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fights. He has had 6 losses and 1 no contest. So I love the guy. He is UFC, he is MMA, but he's 34-10 right now. Just step away. No one's going to fault you. No one's going to be upset with you. No one's going to doubt you. No one's going to be down on you. It's time. And Father Time is undefeated. Father Time never loses. We all know that that's a fact. We've seen it in Dirk. We've seen it in Kobe. We've seen it in so many different players and people that's just how it goes. So before we end the show, I have to say there's a couple of shows that I'm watching, but there's one show in particular that I want you guys to check out if you haven't already. If you're a hip-hop head, Wu-Tang has a docu-series on Showtime. It's called Wu-Tang, I think it's called Wu-Tang Forever, Mics and Men. I've only watched episode 1, but I'm telling you, that episode 1 is 100% worth watching all the other episodes. And I didn't know the Wu-Tang, all the Wu-Tang members, or most of them grew up around each other. But that's my kind of what to watch on TV. I may start that as a new segment towards the end of the show, what I'm watching or what you should watch. Still watching Game of Thrones. My wife is further along than me. Thanks a lot, bae. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being further along, so now I got to go back and try to catch up. Or I'm going to have to ask you what happened. What happened in the past episodes. But watching Game of Thrones, trying to catch up. Also watching Insecure. That's an interesting show. It is hilarious though too. A couple of comments here about Larry B. The middleweight class is basically another heavyweight class without the theatrics of Fury. We have 3 dudes who just circle around. Boxing is my favorite combat sport, but I like a lot of competition. Sorry for the rant. No, you good. You good, Larry B. Put your thoughts in there. Appreciate it. Silva should have let the sport retire him. He needs to retire on his own terms. Yeah. All right, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the BS3 Sports Show this Friday. Happy Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be back on Monday with the weekend wrap-up show, recapping what's going on in NBA, recapping from what happened over the weekend. Also, the Benny Awards, you can put those in the chat room on the Monday show. Last episode of Game of Thrones Sunday. Well, I'm going to watch as many episodes as possible very soon because I'm way behind, but I'll get there. I think it's a great show. So you guys have a good rest of the day. Have a great weekend. I'm out. God bless. Peace.